that sits at sort of the hinge of the Dragon Slayer and Legend of Heroes series. We already saw Trails in the Sky SC earlier, and this one is technically in the same series. So let's go ahead and get rolling. All right, so I start the game from the continue menu here and hit restart. So time will start when I hit this button. I'll give a countdown. So it'll be 3, 2, 1, go.
A fine morning to you, my lord.
Good morning, Elias.
Ah, my dear Prince Logan. I understand from the gate guards that you're still indulging in slime bashing. I hardly think that such a childish pastime befits one who is destined to inherit the throne in just 2 more months. As I've said time and time again, the future is shaped by knowledge. I'm sure you'll agree that your time would be better spent in study rather than chasing those ghastly green jelly globs. Now, if you'll pardon me for a moment, I'll go and get my books so that we can commence with your studies.
I'm going for a little manip here, actually. I know I got it if I don't hear the music until after this menu. Alright, so as you can already tell, this game is chiefly known for its voice acting, if it's known at all. Given that this is a Falcom event, we probably have more people in this chat that actually know a little bit about this game than have ever been assembled in one place. But nonetheless, still not that many. This is for the TurboGrafx CD, and it is something of a gem in a lot of ways. It's a fun little game. It has a very generic story, but it's got a lot of fun set pieces. And it does have this dub that is sort of legendary.
Prince Logan, wake up!
We're under attack, my lord! Monsters everywhere! There's not a moment to lose! Please arm yourself and follow me! This way, my lord, through the secret passage.
Wait, what about you?
We're right behind you, my lord. Now hurry! There's no time to waste!
What's going on, Elias? Open the door!
I'm afraid we're a bit outnumbered, my lord. Though it's been some time since I've lifted a sword, I'm sure I can hold off a few of the beasties while you make good your escape.
Let me help.
You can, my lord, by not wasting another minute arguing with me. Go to Castle Sylvan. Send back reinforcements. We'll hold out until they arrive. Now go!
I'll be back, Elias. I'll be back.
Yeah, I always thought Irish I could hear Scottish too. Okay, let me do this real quick. So I'm going to be using the auto battle feature of this game that's very ahead of its time for the first chapter pretty much exclusively. By doing what I did in the town, kind of timing the entry to the menu there by buffering it, I'm able to manipulate a 7 stat point level up on Logan's first level. Because of the way the stats work in this game, that's going to have a big effect on his hit point growth later in the run, so he's going to have about 40 extra hit points at the time I need them the most. So that's something I found pretty recently and routed in that gives a lot more consistency to the mid-game. I'll talk a little bit more about the stats and some of the leveling strategies as we go. The beginning of the game is, as you can kind of tell, going to be heavy on the cutscenes and the voice acting. We'll pretty soon be meeting our big villain, and we'll have another very lengthy scene. So we get to enjoy some of the delights of this game in the early first few minutes here. I have some lore on this this bad guy in a second once this scene plays out.
My Lord Drax, I bring you Prince Logan.
Ah, my dear prince, welcome to Castle Sylvan.
Drax, what's the meaning of this?
I'm glad we were able to catch you before you wandered around the city. After all, you are one of the dearly departed.
Dearly departed.
Departed, expired, passed away, take your pick. The point is you were supposed to have perished when the monsters attacked Exile. At least that's what I've got the kingdom believing. What's more, since you're no longer with us, I've humbly offered to sacrifice my time and accept the crown in your place. Aside from the inconvenient fact that you're still alive, a situation that I will soon remedy, all goes according to plan. At least your father, the late King Corwin, had the sense to stay deceased when I arranged the last monster attack 10 years ago. Of course, it probably helped that I did the job myself, rather than leaving things in the hands of those clumsy monsters. Oh well, please understand that it's nothing personal, but I would like to take you out of the picture once and for all. Unfortunately, securing my position as sovereign involves marriage with your mother, the lovely Queen Sylvia. To date, she hasn't agreed to my proposal. But if I throw your life into the deal, I'm sure she'll find me to be a worthy husband. So, for now, I offer you a pleasant night in our rat-infested dungeons. Take him away.
So we get our very incriminating bad guy speech. We're going to get interrupted by another cutscene, so I'll finish this after my thought after this one. But this guy's name is Drax in this version. That's the localization. His name in Japanese is Akudam. And more on that in a second.
Prince Logan, praise the Seeker you're still alive.
And who might you be?
Ethan, my lord, I'm a friend. I've come to free you.
Just lead me to Drax, and I'll put an end to his evil designs once and for all.
Out of the question, dear prince. He's too well guarded. Your first priority is to get out of here in one piece. Live to fight another day. Now follow me.
So my understanding, and I'm not a Japanese speaker, so I might be wrong, but that there is a word in Japanese called Akudama that means literally bad guy, like villain. And they just named the villain bad guy. Aku being the root for evil as well, like Akuma in Street Fighter. Alright, normally I would be starting a bit of a grind here that's required by the game, but we're going to have to go take a cutscene first. But I don't need to run. I did anyway. We're going to do an optional cutscene that I would normally skip. But we have some voice acting that's extremely important. So I'm going to showcase some of the optional voice acting lines through the game. Really just a couple, because there's not that many. But we have to meet Marcus. This is actually my single favorite dialogue in the entire game.
Ethan, old buddy, I see you managed to spring the prince from the royal pigsty.
Who's this overdressed fellow?
Marcus, my lord. A good-for-nothing. Ignore him and he might go away.
Yeah, I heard that. Listen, your highness, I'm sure you need all the help you can get, and I'm willing to give you a hand. But me being a level 7 spellcaster, I got my pride. I can't serve under somebody who's any less than level 6, you know what I mean? Anyway, I'll see you around.
Marcus has his pride. Alright, so story-wise, the game wants us to level up to level 8 here, because we need to be strong enough to defeat the commander of this town called the Pits, which is a mining colony. And the game insists we must be level 8 to do that. And it's actually not totally wrong. That's a pretty good level for it in terms of our stat growth. So the game forces us to level up to level 8. It only cares about Logan, however, so we're going to do that and get this grind as fast as possible. Some new tech here that was partly inspired by something Stoltenheim was doing when he was running this game briefly is we're going to make a quick dash over to this westernmost town called Nigel to get some gear. To make this grind go faster. I used to do this shopping trip a little later in the run when I had more money and could buy a full set of gear. Now we're going to be a little under-equipped for the chapter, but do it sooner, which speeds up the initial grind, actually by quite a bit. I'm also going to sell some junk that I don't need, some consumables. We should have just over 1,000, and we need exactly 1,000 here. Yeah, your movement speed and stuff is really fast in this game. It's a very zippy game. So these enemies in the far west zone are actually super deadly, so I don't really want any encounters here. We want to fight in the middle of the continent. We could very well wipe here, which isn't really a huge problem. Okay, this is bad enemy placement. I'm having a hard time. This is fine now. So this game is also sort of notable for being a game that actually has, wow, quality of life features that would really not become standard until much later. Namely, when you die in a fight, you can just retry it. And on the overworld, you don't actually force the fight, you can move away from it. Alright, so the biggest benefit of having this equipment early is that we can take on these wildcat enemies in the middle zone before we get to level 6. And so that makes the first 4 and 5 levels go a lot faster here, because they're by far the most valuable groups right now. You can also see I do still have auto combat on from the cave, so we are not actually menuing. I'm just holding down the confirm button, and it's just automatically targeting. But the game does require us to get level 8 to progress on Logan, so we're going to do that here. Alright, in addition, this is a good spot to talk about some gameplay tech that's important, which is the stats. So the stat route here is very carefully routed to make sure that I can actually survive all the fights that we need to have throughout the run. There are 4 stats. There's Strength, Intelligence, Speed, and Luck. Of the 4, they all matter, but they all matter in different ways. So Strength is actually mostly your hit points. So one reason why Logan is gaining hit points really fast is that I'm investing early in Strength. Not only does he need it for the hit point growth, you need it early because it isn't retroactive. The game just flatly gives you 2x your Strength in hit points when you level up, and that's it. It doesn't sort of go back and recalculate it ever. So you just sort of invest in it early and get hit point growth for later. Intelligence does the exact same thing except for magic points. So we won't worry about that on Logan, but we will care about it for Ethan and so forth. And then Speed actually works a lot like it does in Trails, if you're familiar with that. There's sort of a hidden turn order that is not shown, and it kind of calculates a delay statistic based on your speed and the action cost that an action takes. And then Luck is actually the hero stat of the game. It does the most in terms of outcomes in combat. It affects not just criticals, which it has a big effect on, but also just your base damage rolls. It affects status effect hit rates, which will be important because we'll be using a lot of those, etc., etc. So basically the point of Chapter 1 is to get enough strength on Logan to... I might die to this. Wow, that was close. Get enough strength on Logan to actually get his hit points where I want them, but also have enough luck to survive the first kind of boss fight. So the other thing I'd like to see is extra stat points coming on those level ups. You can get anywhere from 5 to 7, and the roll you get is just random. So I really would prefer to see some... wait, that's not right. Some 7s. I RNG manipped the first one, but other than that, I can't do anything about it. So we just have to hope for the best. And I'm actually getting pretty low rolls here, so we might have a slightly rough Chapter 2 as a function of that. But we'll see how it goes. Stoltz is joking, but he's right. I did own this game as a kid. I've had this since I was 12, so I never really speedran it exactly, but I did play it through casually in like one sitting pretty often. So I definitely know this game pretty well, and I've been able to find fairly good routing ideas for the speedrun. We're actually pretty close to this grind finishing up. We're coming up on a somewhat scary boss fight. The Commander, who is the sort of the mid-boss of the chapter, and is actually the most dangerous encounter in the chapter. With the new route that I just have been doing this week, literally, in preparation for this marathon, we're going to go into him with less defense than I used to do it. So he's a lot more dangerous. He does 10 more damage per hit, because our defense is lowered by 10. Which just means I have to be a little more careful about my healing. But it also makes the fight a little scary. If he gets a crit or an extra hit at the wrong time, it can be pretty dangerous. So we'll see how it treats us in this run. Actually, one thing I like to keep an eye on is how many herb drops I have. So I have 4. That's a good number. Okay, we did get 1 extra stat point there, which is nice. We actually have to fight this because we're close to the edge of the map here. Yeah, I agree with that. The commander is pretty amazing. It's another one of my favorite of the voice clips. Although I think the bigger hero of that one is Logan's like arrogant voice. We'll see how it goes though. Alright, this I can run from. Oh, and I also want to turn off the auto battle. I guess we'll just do that now. Okay, having reached level 8, we can now go have a conversation, see a little cutscene. Oh, I have to pick up Marcus first, that's right. I usually don't do this in this order because of the new route, so forgot about him. Then we leave and re-enter, and now we do a cutscene. And they'll tell us, oh, there was a cave-in at the pits, and they've asked for medical help, so we can send some people in. And then that's our excuse to go to the town and fight the commander and take it over. And we're trying to recruit an army for storming the castle. I'm afraid everyone in that first cutscene is dead. Sorry to break it to you. Alright, I don't really care about their HP. The one thing that can go well here is if Ethan and Marcus get a turn before he casts his big spell, we might have an easier fight here.
What you want?
I am Logan, Crown Prince of Farlane. I hereby order you to release all prisoners slaving in the pits.
I hereby order you to la-dee-da-da. Give me a break. Baron Drax has got a reward on your head that's astronomical. And if anybody's gonna collect it, it's gonna be me.
Okay, so he usually leads off with this calm spell, which mutes everyone, shuts off all spellcasting. We're doing this with pretty much the bare minimum stats, so this could be a little close. But the goal here is just to get him dead, obviously, while not dying ourselves. Sounds simple. We just heal with herbs whenever we're a little low. But as I said, he does hit quite a bit harder in this reroute than he used to, so this is a little closer call. But I think we're okay. Alright, good. This level is strength. Okay. Phew. That's actually pretty dicey, especially in like a no reset context, because if you lose that fight, you actually have to listen to the cutscene again. Which I know we would all like to do, but it does lose quite a bit of time.
Are you the guys that freed us?
This is just the beginning. I won't rest until I've freed my kingdom from the evil clutches of that accursed Drax.
Wait a second. Who are you?
Hey, watch your language, fella. You're talking to the Crown Prince himself, Logan of Falcom.
No kidding. A real prince. How about that? Well, my name's Giles, and I also got a bone to pick with Drax. You mind if I tag along and give you a hand?
Giles? You wouldn't happen to be related to that ill-reputed cut-purse Magic Fingers, Giles, now would you?
I'd be a richer man if I was.
If you'll excuse me for saying so, Prince, I think we're doing all right so far. Being that that's the case, we don't need this guy.
Hey, butt out, boy. I'm talking to His Highness, not his lackey. Come on, Prince, what do you say?
I say no.
I'm warning you, kid.
Enough. There's no point in arguing amongst ourselves. Our enemy is Drax, and if Giles is willing to join us, well, we do need all the help we can get.
My thoughts exactly. You won't regret your decision, Your Highness.
Giles is doing like a 30s gangster voice, and Marcus is doing like a Jersey accent, and their dynamic together is really terrific. They have several good scenes coming up in the near future. I think I can get to the north here. Let's see. Alright, so now we have saved the pits, we've gotten a new party member, and we have our army. We're ready to storm the castle. The remaining fights in the chapter are relatively free. I won't say completely, but pretty much. Because we do have Giles, who comes with a full set of the wolf equipment that I bought on Logan earlier. So he's basically fully powered and gives us an extra, muscle here. So the rest of this is pretty straightforward. Also get ready for the least enthusiastic crowd ever.
Prince Logan, just look at these lads. You'll not find a finer bunch in all of Isranaza. Aye, with these laddies by your side, it won't be long before you drive Drax out of Sylvan. Come on, lads! It's time we showed that tyrant Drax how we really feel about him. Down with Drax! Long live Prince Logan!
Down with Drax! Long live Prince Logan!
Almost. There's a little movement thing there to do that cleanly that I always go for and never quite get right. Alright, so the next thing we have to do is we have to beat 4 of these Sentinel groups. Actually 5, we have to beat one in the top line as well. But we have to do these before the rest of it's available to us. This is again just holding down the attack button. One cute feature of the TurboGrafx is it has native turbo, so all the controllers come with turbo. So turbo is legal in speedruns in that context, and I use it quite a bit in this run. You can see how fast I'm clearing text boxes and stuff. So here I just have turbo on maximum, and I'm just holding down the button. Frame issues. Okay, I am not dropping frames myself, so that must be in between. Oh, I lost. One downside of fights where you just hold A is sometimes you zone out and don't pay attention to what's happening. Alright, we have another one of these commander fights after one more group of sentinels. Okay, good, thanks. And we really, again, only need Giles and Logan for this.
Step back, men. Give me some room. Allow me to show these rebels what it means to face a real soldier.
Yeah, who knows? Gremlins. We did see that if Marcus gets a turn, he can cast Flame 3, which does a good chunk of damage on this guy. Makes the fight a little faster, but the second round with Commander is not particularly challenging because we have an extra party member.
Impressive. Truly impressive. I underestimated you, Logan. However, losing the throne of Farlane is only a minor setback when you consider the fact that my final objective is the domination of Isranaza. I should have taken care of you when I had the chance. Oh well, I'm sure our paths will cross again. Until that time comes, I bid you farewell.
So I deliberately fight the guy on the far right there so that we don't bump into one of those guys when they leave the room, which can definitely happen. Little things in the route. I like to point out the micro stuff that you wouldn't really notice. You just need more practice. So actually, it's interesting you raised that question. The answer to that is no, because I'm not playing on a game disc. I'm using a thing called a Super SD System 3 these days, which is a kind of a flash card for the TurboGrafx. So I'm playing on real hardware, but not real software. So we don't have any CD issues to worry about, which is nice. It cuts down the load times. It's one reason the time on this game has come down quite a bit in the last week, as I switched over to doing runs on that. Alright, so I picked up some junk from the treasury in town there. And we're going to do another quick shopping trip and then another cutscene. Looks right.
Your pardon, my lord. My apologies for waking you before the break of dawn, but we have a problem.
What is it, Ethan?
A delicate matter, my lord. I believe somebody's been helping himself to my purse.
Are you suggesting that there's a thief among us?
The possibility did cross my mind.
I'll bet it was Giles.
Curses, Marcus. I thought you were sleeping.
Just give me a few minutes with that Giles, and I'll get a full confession out of him.
Hold it down, Marcus. You have no proof.
Gentlemen, I think it's best that we keep our own opinions to ourselves and see if it happens again.
Sure, Your Highness, but if I catch that thief with anything of mine, I'll send him straight to the Seeker.
Alright, so we get our little conflict scene, and then the ship is repaired and we can move on. Chapter 2, the whole game is RNG heavy, but Chapter 2 I think is especially so. There's a lot of potential RNG, good and bad, in this chapter. And we'll meet some really RNG heavy monsters coming up really soon. Oh, I forgot to sell the short sword. Oops. Yeah, every single one of Marcus's lines is a treasure. I'm going to buy a couple extra herbs just because I think I'm a little low. Alright, so our first order of business is this little side quest where we're going to rescue a kid that's been kidnapped from the town by a monster. And to get there we have to go through these forced encounters with the imps, which in their current incarnation are not too dangerous. Like, they're still a little dangerous, but they're going to be much more so in a second here. Their gimmick is that they try to put the whole party to sleep, and then they try to poison you to death, because poison in this game is a timed instant kill, not a damage over time. So they try to knock you out with sleep and then poison you and kind of stun lock you. And they don't actually do any damage other than the instant death spells. With a party of 4, we can usually just hold down the A button and win, but I'm going to have to run and reset that fight because we got such bad rolls. And then that went much better. So the imps are one source of RNG.
What be this foul odor? Be the smell of human flesh? Ah, it must be dinner time.
Alright, the Guar Master here is a relatively easy boss whose only real annoyance is that he can heal, which he does seemingly at random. He doesn't have a script to do it at a certain HP, but he just decides to sometimes. We don't want to see it, of course. And, okay, we got him. Eleven is speed and luck. Okay. Oh yeah, that's also the first of many monster effect voices, where there's some like transformation on the voice line. Get used to that. Okay.
I hate to bring this subject up, but it looks like somebody's been in my purse.
Why is everybody looking at me?
Nobody's accusing you, Giles.
Say what? I think it's pretty obvious who the thief around here is.
Prove it, slime bait.
Proof? Who needs it? I just don't trust you. For all we know, you might be working for Drax.
Hold your tongue, Marcus. You're way out of line.
Well, pardon me, your royalness, but I ain't big-hearted enough to let this thief rob me blind.
That's it. I've had enough. I should have known better than to team up with a bunch of losers. When you face Drax the next time, you're just gonna have to do it without me.
Giles, wait.
Sorry, Highness. I'm history.
Giles!
I see a comment that this looks a lot like East 1 and 2. I'd agree to some extent. I mean, it's contemporary, it's on the same system, but I don't think there's any shared assets. Okay, so now I'm picking up, or using this item we got in the treasury, the telelens, which is an item that allows us to see these blobs on the map that are the random encounters. So we also see another quality of life thing, which is non-random encounters in a game from like 1991. I just am really impressed by that. And the telelens we'll be able to buy pretty soon, which will be nice. Alright, so we stopped there to pick up some utility spells, and then we have another little mission to do here. So this town, Fort Muir, is being attacked by the imps, the same enemies we just fought in the cave. Even if I hadn't sold all my weapons, we're in no position to beat those right now. With a party of 3 with Giles leaving, the stunlock gimmick of the imps goes from cute to terrifying. They are extremely difficult with a party of 3 with lion lances. So to fix that, we're going to buy a higher power weapon that gives us enough attack power to one-shot them. And that makes all the difference in the world. It makes these fights much more winnable, although we can still easily lose here if they get the first turn and stunlock me before I even get to go. So this is another RNG-heavy spot. Again, I'm really just holding down the button, but we missed an attack, which is unfortunate, and they're going to kill us. This is over, unless I get a wake-up. Nope, it's over. So we take a death here. This happens occasionally. There's very little you can do about this. This is one spot where extra points on level up really help. If I can get more stats on Logan, they tend to go into speed, so that he's fast enough to be more likely to get a turn here, which makes this a little more in my favor. But there's still just a big RNG component to these imps. I think we're probably okay here. Once you get them down to 2, usually people will wake up and get out of the stun lock. It's not guaranteed, but it's usually okay. Alright. Decent imps. We had 1 death, but that's to be expected. Alright, we start to put into this now. Oh wait, I'm supposed to give strength first. Whoops. Okay, our next sort of story thing is going to be the next town, which we were just in and got our shopping done in, is going to be attacked by monsters and by Drax, our bad guy from the first chapter. We got to figure out what to do about it. But we have to set up the triggers for that to happen first, so I got to make one more walk back there. I will say that although this game is notable for having some really interesting quality of life features that are a little ahead of its time, one way in which it is definitely a retro game is the obtuseness of the various plot triggers that are necessary to set up. So you have to do a lot of weird conversation triggers, like talking to specific NPCs like these two, before events will happen, and often the game will leave you sort of scratching your head casually as to why stuff isn't happening yet, what you need to do yet to sort of progress the story. But I know what to do, because I've researched it, so we can trigger the right events and move on. Hey, nice.
Drax, I thought I smelled the rat when I heard Grimwolf was under siege by monsters.
If it isn't the late Corwin's meddlesome offspring. I didn't think our paths would cross this soon. You don't know how much I've looked forward to this. For this day, I will rid myself of you once and for all.
Dream on, Drax. For even if my destiny is to fall this day, I solemnly swear that I'll take you down with me.
We will see, boy. We will see.
So that's probably Logan's voice actor's best line in the game, and it's a shame because this is a forced loss. You can't win this fight, and you're supposed to lose it for plot reasons. So we get our butts kicked, and we get mysteriously teleported back to the previous town by some mysterious man if you talk to the NPCs around here. And so the story thing we need to do next is to acquire the Calm spell that was used against us in the first chapter by the Commander, which, if you remember, was the spell that shut off all spellcasting. It mutes the whole combat, which is a really cool spell. It'll be useful for us for the entire game, and we need it to shut off Drax's spellcasting. So we're going into this tower. We're doing the standard make a clay mold of the keyhole kind of thing, and we're going to come back and get the key to the spell. And we get yet another cutscene.
Prince Logan, wake up. It's Marcus. He's gone.
Gone? What do you mean, gone?
He's nowhere to be found. I searched everywhere but couldn't find hide nor hair of him. I can only assume that he's left us for good.
Wait a minute, let me check. Oh no. Doom's Tear, it's gone! Come on, Ethan. We've got to find Marcus.
Okay, so that's the last we'll see of Marcus. Well, not literally, but he's not going to be in the party anymore. Yeah, this is on TurboGrafx CD, though I'm playing on a flash card. Okay, that could have been really bad. When you're down to 2 people, the imp encounter is extremely dangerous. Oh, this is unusual. Right, I might have to take one of these encounters. We can beat these, but it's sort of dumb. Oh, that went well. Okay. Alright, we find out that someone mysteriously defaced the pillar that the Calm spell is on, but it looks like Giles saved the day and picked up the rock that was chipped away, so we can all get the Calm spell, which will be useful and relevant through the entire speedrun, including up to the last boss. Nothing's immune to it, it works on everything. It's really cool. It's a neat spell, and the game is kind of balanced around it. There's a lot of bosses that have healing spells or other things that they do with spellcasting that you want to shut off, and you're kind of expected to use it for the whole game. Oh, before I forget, I need to equip Giles. And we don't need to heal because this is fully scripted once you cast the spell.
Foolish child. Haven't you learned that you've met your match? That spell. That accursed spell. There's a time to fight and a time to run. Right now, wisdom dictates that I choose to run. Till we meet again, son of Corwin.
We do get to see that Marcus got beaten up by Drax, so he paid his price for betraying us. I'm afraid French Maid remains dead. At least I presume. This level is Or base stats, okay. Since we all got a level up, we avoided the animation for the rest that we would usually get there. It's like saves like a millisecond. Not that. 4 of those, okay. All right, so now we have to go investigate the capital of the country here and see what's going on. Before we do that, though, I'm going to make a little detour to pick up a completely optional item. This is not required for the story or anything like that, but it does considerably help out in the next dungeon, or the next combat area. It's not really a dungeon. So this is going to overall save time by dramatically increasing our attack power. We're going to pick up a little accessory that gives us plus 100 attack. That was a really good cave. One encounter there that was fast. No complaints there. So this is definitely worth the time. If you get really bad RNG in this cave, it can kind of be not such a good trade, but it is worth having overall. Saves quite a bit of time on Rockburg, which we're about to do the next town here. Alright, so before we do that, though, again, much like with Grimwolf and the town being attacked, we have to set up some dialogue triggers. Fortunately, these are pretty intuitive in the game if you read the dialogue. So the mayor of the previous town asks us to check up on his brother, because he's heard that there's monsters in Rockburg. And we say, okay, let's go ask his brother what's up. And the brother says he's fine. But he's acting a little suspicious. So we go back to the mayor, and we say, hey, he was there, but he seemed a little off. And the mayor tells us, well, he has these scars on his hand from an injury when he was a child. Maybe you should check and see if he has those scars. Maybe it's an imposter. I don't know why that would be your first thought, but hey. Turns out it's right, though. It is an imposter. And when we'll ask him about that, he will turn into a rock monster. So we'll have to fight him. Which is why we wanted that offensive item. Alright, so let's trip this. And then we have a very frantic sequence here. This is a very difficult part of the run, actually. Alright, so the town went, whoops, all rock monsters. Oh, that was great movement. Okay, so we got a little lucky there with the order there. I want to get around these without any extra fights, and I think we're great. That was a very good first room. They're usually not so accommodating. If you compare how much damage Logan is doing to the others, you'll see why I wanted all those, or wanted that item. Oof. Let's do a magic heal. It was largely RNG, Stralt. That was mostly good luck. That first corner, I didn't really have a lot of control over it. It just happened to work out nicely. Oh, that's really bad, actually. Ethan's probably not strong enough to win this. I'm going to have to back out and heal. Now there's a little puzzle here where the door in front of us will push us out if we walk through it. And you're intended to go talk to some NPCs and get a hint about it and blah blah blah, but the gimmick is it repels metal. So we just have to equip all of our, or unequip all of our armor, walk through the door, and then re-equip. Easy peasy. There's a nice little juke there. Yeah, this area can go really poorly with bad RNG. It's a very volatile spot in the run. So this has been a superb Rockburg, actually. Let's heal with... Well, no, I've got enough to do this.
Who dares invade the halls of my castle? Have you taken leave of your senses? Are you aware that you're now face to face with Strom the Untamed, the conqueror of Wingard? If so, may the Seeker help you. Because believe me, you will need all the help you can get.
Listen, Dagroth, don't look for plot holes. It's a JRPG, that's not fair. I forgot to cast power here. Waste a little time. Oh, that was a mistake too. Alright, we'll manage. That good crit is really nice. So this guy, I'm not explaining it very well. He attacks the bottom person in the party with the fire staff. That's his whole gimmick. So you just want to keep them alive long enough to give yourself enough time to kill him. I forget what this level is supposed to be. This is speed. I'll get a point of strength too.
How disappointing. I'm afraid Strom fell far too short of my expectations.
Well, that's too bad, Drax. Now defend yourself, or are you going to run again like some whipped cur?
Run? Could it be you're mistaking tactical retreat for running? I would be a fool to risk my life when I'm so close to achieving my goal. No, Logan. I'll face you once again in a place of my own choosing, under my own conditions. Until then, fare thee well.
Oh my god. I just had a huge gold. That Rockbird was so good. I just realized, though, I did forget something very small. We're going to lose a tiny bit of time walking through the town here because I forgot to set something up. I know, right? It's not so much bad as it is cheesy. It's just like really corny and super like over the top, and it just makes it really delightful. It has a lot of character. So normally I'm supposed to set up a warp point so I can warp in and out of the town to do this faster. Sure, that was 6. Okay, so we take a boat ride, we're going to recruit another party member, and then we're going to get kidnapped by pirates. Spoilers. So get your Sour Pleases ready, because the pirate theme is probably the most banger track in the whole game. It's really good.
Well, it took you long enough to get here.
Sonia, what in the Seeker's name are you doing here?
I had nothing better to do, so I thought I'd drop in and help you track down Drax. The fact of the matter is, King Rowan sent word to your mother, Queen Sylvia. He said that you were a bit short-handed and could probably use an extra sword. Naturally, when I heard of this, I knew you need the best, so I volunteered. By the way, what happened to Marcus?
Yeah, it's a long story. I'd rather not go into it right now.
Okay, you're the boss. Actually, you're lucky I came because I know a few spells myself, although I must admit I'm not in Marcus's class. Now, where do we go from here?
Wait a minute, just wait a minute. Who said you were coming in the first place?
My dear Prince, who is going to stop me?
All right, you may join us.
I thought you'd see it my way.
Good, good. Everyone's pointing out word to your mother. I've always enjoyed that.
We got ourselves a couple of live ones, Captain Morgan. They might be good for mending their sails.
Good job, Mr. Sneed. Put him in the brig while I finish this hand.
Aye, Captain.
Captain Morgan is the localization. He's not named that in Japanese. Doesn't make it any less funny.
Oh, what have we here? A pretty little lassie, eh? Sneed, take these gentlemen out to the docks and show them how we like our decks swabbed. In the meantime, I'll see what me and this lovely lady has in common. Whoa, wait a second. Giles, why, you thieving little cutpurse. What are you doing here?
I didn't exactly come here by choice, you old sea dog. Now that you recognize me, I hope you'll treat me and my friends a little better than you have so far.
Why not? Mr. Sneed, break out the silverware. We're going to have ourselves a little party tonight.
Aye, Captain. Consider it done.
Gentlemen, and gentle lady, if you'll follow me this way.
Alright, so Chapter 3 is where we start to have access to proper fast travel. So there's warp wings that were available in the shop there. Let me warp from town to town. Sort of like Dragon Warrior return spell style. Anywhere I want. And that's going to make the sort of subsequent chapters pretty quick. We're going to be able to hit all the plot triggers in very short order. So what I'm going to be doing here is walking around and getting all the towns in my warp list. And then sort of shotgunning all of the, whoops, that's not it, all the different conversations that need to be had. Story-wise, we're finding out, our party, other than Ethan, I guess, is finding out that Ethan is really Prince Evan of this particular kingdom, the younger brother of the king. And we find that the king is hiding out in this little town because monsters have taken over his capital. And so he asks us to help. I don't need to talk to her. What am I doing? And so Ethan is asked to save the kingdom. Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's a very good localization. Like, you know, in the true sense of the term. It localizes it into English in a way that makes it charming in English and sort of works for native speakers without being literal. Lots of like accents and stuff, even in the scripted lines, you know, the text lines. Goofy euphemisms or cute little, you know, phrases like "holy crow" that a lot of people say in this area, things like that. Oops. Alright, that's most of our overworld walking. We're going to get a cutscene here to learn that this town is being attacked by monsters who are stealing energy from the temple north of it. And to fix that, we have to go talk to the Dragon Priestess and ask her to shut off the power, so the monsters will get bored and leave. But she says I can't do that without my magic pendant, which was taken by the tax collectors, who happen to be in the town of Levy. Again, another localization thing. Super literal localization in some ways. So we go guilt the count or whatever into giving back all the money. Etc., etc. We're supposed to be inside one of those little blue pods there that you can see on the overworld map. Alright, so this is my biggest spell shopping trip in the whole game. I'm buying a couple armor items there that I will not even use until Chapter 5. Those are some new tech that I recently introduced to the route that dramatically improve a boss fight later. Once we do the Port Norris side quest, we'll come back here and find out that the king has been kidnapped and the monsters are demanding a ransom. And the ransom is an item that's hidden in a dungeon that's locked with a key that has been stolen by the pirates. So we go to the pirates and ask if they know where it is. And he tells us, well, I threw it overboard after we raided the castle because it was worthless. So now we have to go interrogate all the local fishermen to see if anybody fished it up. That is indeed for Gaius. It will make us immune to his spells. Where am I going? Yeah, here. Okay, so we find out that this fisherman does have it, but he doesn't want to give us the key because it's bad luck to give a fish that you caught, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So we have to go back to the pirates to get the gemstone that was originally in the key that the pirates took out of the key because it was valuable. Morgan can be in one of several places here, so it's a little unfortunate. He refuses to give it to us. So we talk to his crew, and they tell us, well, you know, he might listen to his mother. He's afraid of his mother. So we have to go recruit her. And then we come back, and we will get a very exciting cutscene.
Morgan! How many times have I got to tell ye? A lying pirate is nothing but a thief.
I'm sorry, Ma. I'm sorry.
I think you mean a delightful quest chain. No, it is kind of goofy, but I've always thought it was at least, like, different, creative. I don't know. It's cute. Alright, so we get our gem. Go back to here and get our key. Well, his mother just spanked him in front of his crew, you know. I'd be afraid. This guy. Alright, now we're coming up on another RNG-heavy dungeon and a difficult execution segment, the Tombs. So the dungeon that key opens, we have to complete to recover the key, or sorry, the Doom's Eye, the item that's inside. And this is a dangerous segment. The reason being that these monsters here, these Grim Goons, I really don't have much way to kill other than status effects. And they do hit pretty hard, so we have some somewhat difficult movement and routing here to get through these fights. I'm going to hopefully get through this first room. This is a lot of monsters at the beginning. This is crazy. Alright. But I can do movement to get around them for the early part of the dungeon. It's just that there's one specific spot where there's a vertical hallway that's one tile wide, and it's very long, and I can't get around monsters in it. So I have to kind of commit to it, and if there's a lot in front of me and behind me and I'm pinned, I just have to take those fights. So we have to be prepared to win multiple of these encounters. If necessary. Now, ideally, it won't be necessary. If I get lucky, I can get a 0 encounter Tombs, but it really is just down to luck, because I don't have any way to tell what's coming, other than just intuition. Like, well, okay, there I can pretty much guess. But let's see what happens here. Okay, we're going to have to back out. I'd rather try to avoid these guys rather than commit to the fights, but at some point you just have to do it. Alright, so the setup I'm doing here is I have Ethan equipped with the best defensive gear that we can find right now, which is in this cave. And it's Ethan specifically because he is underleveled. Right? I could put it on Sonya, who's a better caster, has more MP, and has higher level stuff. But she would not level up after a successful combat, and so she wouldn't refill her MP, and we would run out pretty quickly. That's not true of Ethan, who does indeed have... well, if he gets crit to death, it's not so good. But does have the ability to both survive and regain his MP, and basically work as kind of a battery that allows us to win these fights. Over and over again. I get both... oh crap. Well, that's a problem. Try to have Sonya survive the fight. She can heal herself at a minimum. Okay, that worked out. I think we're good, though. That should be enough. Let me herb again. Oh, there's one more. But we don't need to fight this. We can bait him out. So the setup kind of lets me get through the cave consistently, depending on whatever I get. Because we had that weird death on Ethan, I'm a little under on him, but we'll manage. I could also have just backed out of this room and reset the room, but I think we'll just do the fight. Nobody wants to hit. This is really unfortunate luck. I'm going to take the wipe and we'll just reset the room. Or not. We're getting pretty lousy RNG here with the Venom hits. They should be 50-50s at worst. So the base rate of Venom 2 hitting is 50-50 and Venom 3 is 2/3. But I just cannot get these to land. Oh my god, dude. Just kill me. Yeah, that's correct. You only get XP among people that survive the fight. This has been really bad. That's what we needed, is an early hit and then another hit. Okay, got him. Good. We should win this now. To be clear, the bad luck there that I had was really the combat itself and the hit rate of Venom, more so than the actual movement, which is really not that out of the ordinary for this area. Apparently that guy spawned when I went back up, so that was a little iffy. Oh my god. Oh, he's still alive. Yeah, so this has been a bad Tombs. Not even just a mediocre one, outright terrible. Okay. If we don't die, I'll be fine. Oh, why did I mismenued. That's a huge problem. Okay, that's fine. I have a safety for that. We had that fight won, and I hit run instead of defend. That was really dumb. Now I'm making my own bed. Okay, now we got him. Ugh. Yeesh. Alright, well that was pretty poor, but hey. Within normal parameters, honestly. Oh wait, I forgot something. Let me go back. I want to actually stand here. This might not work now. For a few seconds to manipulate spawns to try to have fewer spawn in this room. Which we did get, so that I get that staircase for free. Alright, well, that went pretty poorly. A little bit of marathon luck until that last mistake, which was purely my fault. But that was pretty bad luck, even up to that point. Okay, now we're off to the boss fight, who is interestingly the only boss in the game that doesn't have a voice acting line. The only chapter boss, at least. But once we get the Doom's Eye, they let us in to talk to the main villain of the chapter. And we'll fight him. We're going to win this fight the same way as I won those questionable encounters in the cave, which is with status. So we're going to try to put him on a timer with the Venom spell to die, and then hope that we can wait him until he runs out of hit point, or runs out of timer on his Venom timer. In the meantime, he's doing a lot of damage to us, so we want to try to survive this fight. It's gonna be close. Okay, we got it. Wow. Yeah, I lost 3 minutes on that split. Yeah, that was how bad that Tombs was. All right. So now that the town has been restored, we can go to the clinic here and purchase Nitro, which doubles as a in-combat healing item that will revive a character with full HP, as well as Captain Morgan's heart medicine, which we're going to trade to him for explosives. So we need 2 of these to get through the next area that opens up the next chapter. And then we get 3 others for the final boss, basically. I'll take clean Chapter 4 bosses. I don't even care about Sandra. But Drax and Gyrius are the ones that really worry me. I like how we move like 3 feet away from the explosion. You know, I don't know off the top of my head what her name is in Japanese, but that sounds right. A lot of the names are different. They're not very literally translated, so... Okay, we're coming up on what is actually one of the longest non-voiced dialogues in the game. We're going to meet Queen Claire, the Queen of this Kingdom. She tells us a lot of stuff. One is that all the men of the kingdom have been bewitched by the sorceress Sandra. What am I doing? And they're upstairs dancing around in a circle like idiots. 2 is that there's rumors that this evil dragon Naja is active again and is responsible for everything that's going on right now. So we need to somehow find a way into the king's chambers, where we think Drax is. That's also part of the dialogue. And do that, while also keeping an eye out for dragons. This town we have some very important plot trigger dialogues to hit, including talking to that dog, which is necessary. Not only is talking to the dog necessary, re-entering the town and talking to the dog again, and talking to Jesse when the dog is on the right, is also necessary. The dog is very important. Do not forget the dog. Wow, I have a really clean inventory right now. Okay. I used all my herbs in the stupid tombs, I guess. Not you. The movement in this game is really slippery. Like, whenever you press up against a wall while holding a direction, you still move. So it's really easy to, like, miss move and bump into stuff by accident, which is what happened there. Alright, to get into the top of the tower and save all the guys, we're going to try to talk to this inventor who's working on a kite. But he doesn't have a strong enough cloth. So we talk to the dragon breeder, who tells us about dragon cloth. Won't give us any details, but we mention it to Isaac here, and he says, oh, that'd be perfect if we could get our hands on some of that. but it's made from the fur of baby dragons. Fortunately, there's a dragon egg in the town here in Cardis that is about to hatch. So it seemed like we could get our hands on some dragon claw. But the egg's been stolen. Maybe it was Drax. What's going on? No, it was the dog. The dog buried it. The dog stole the egg. And now the dragon thinks we're its mother. And Campbell gives us some dragon claw. So Stolt kind of mentioned it. We're coming up on an RNG-heavy boss fight. I think every boss is RNG-heavy, but this one's particularly stupid because we'll have 3 of our party members confused, and our 4th one isn't really set up to do anything that's useful. So we're just going to wait for our confused people to hit her and kill her. That's the strat. And it's usually pretty quick, honestly. That's why I haven't bothered to route in a more complicated strat. It's really not worth it. Usually win this fight in 5 to 10 seconds. Every now and then it decides to be dumb, so we'll see what we get here. Also, voice acting. Get ready.
Well, hello boys. Care to join me in a dance?
Prince Logan, Ethan, Giles, what's going on?
I can't move.
It would seem that my spell doesn't work on the fairer sex, so I'll just have to take care of you in a different manner. In the meantime, answer me this. Are you after the Doom's Key?
Doom's Key?
Never mind. I've already taken it from the hands of dear King Theos.
Thieving witch?
Bite your tongue, I didn't steal it. I was rewarded by the king for my outstanding performance that literally had him dancing with joy.
Well, if that's the case, perhaps I can persuade you to hand it over.
Cute little girl, you've such a way with words. But I'm afraid it's too late for threats, as I've already sent the precious little item by Carrier Eagle to he who rules the darkest hoard. Now, on to more pressing matters. It's time to end this conversation permanently.
Sonya's voice actress is very outclassed by Sandra's in that scene. What we want to see happen here is exactly that, the calm spell, because that means everybody will physical. We just want Logan to attack the boss. That's all we want to see here. He's attacking his own party. That's fine. They'll die eventually. And we should have it here. Okay. You know, that was a pretty slow Sandra, but it's okay.
You? Again? I begin to weary of your persistence, boy.
Then make it easy on yourself, Drax. Surrender.
Surrender? Not when I have this particular card to play.
Prince Logan!
Princess Micah! Drax! You've gone too far. Release her.
What's the matter, Logan? Surprised to meet your childhood sweetheart under these circumstances? As I said, I'm tired of having you dog my heels. I'd like to put an end to this farce once and for all.
Then set the princess free and draw your sword.
I told you before that I would prefer to meet you under my conditions and at my terms. Now listen. If you wish to free your precious princess, meet me at the Hollow Cavern, alone. There we will find out which of the two of us is fit to survive.
I'll be there.
I know you will.
I've always liked that little, I know you will, meh, meh. Very petulant. Fortunately, we get a full heal here, which is nice. It saves us having to make an end trip. And now we have 2 back-to-back boss fights that are pretty RNG heavy and dangerous. I keep saying that, but it's true. This is a very RNG heavy run. Particularly the first one, 'cause it's going to be a solo 1v1, well, sort of, between Logan and Drax.
Prince Logan, we realize that this is something you must do alone. We'll go to Havelock and await your return. May the Seeker protect you.
Yeah, I'm a level above where I usually would be, so we have a little extra, but some of that's a function of my reroute. We have more strength than usual.
I salute you and your stupidity, Logan, for only a fool would dare to face me alone. I would have thought you'd come with your dear friends.
Save your breath, Drax. Where's Micah?
Micah? I'm afraid I've misplaced her somewhere in the desert. She's probably buzzard bait by now.
You heartless dog. Prepare to meet your maker.
So the key to this fight is the item I picked up in the town, the Rabbit Foot, which is a consumable that maximizes our luck. It sets it to the highest value. And what happens when you have really high luck is you critical for tons of damage.
You're better than I gave you credit for, boy. But don't be fool enough to assume that it's all over. Though it pains me to admit it, I am but a pawn. You've not won until you've bested Naja, master of the darkest horde. It brings a smile to my lips, knowing that you're destined for a fate far worse than death.
Logan, I presume. I see you've defeated Drax. I guess I owe you my thanks as you've saved me the trouble of eliminating him myself. Oh, that's right, he was quite expendable. A tool for obtaining Doom's Tear and Doom's Eye, which are now temporarily in your possession. Once I've ended your worthless life, both will be mine. I'm sure Master Naja will be pleased by this arrangement, don't you?
Only if you succeed, Scaleface.
Giles?
Not to mention Ethan and yours truly.
Prince Logan, you didn't really think Sonia would let us stay behind and twiddle our thumbs.
Oh, excellent. The band's all here.
Yeah, and you're gonna be one sorry beastie for messing with us in the first place.
Oh, well, we'll see about that, child.
This is another random fight. I found a way to make this more consistent, but it's super slow, so it's not really worth doing. What we're going to do is do this on Logan to try to get some hit point damage. I'm going to fish for a Venom. If I can get this combo, which we did get, he cannot cure his Venom. He does know the spell that cures it. In the meantime, we'll just hope to wait this out while he dies. That worked pretty well. So I can kill him either with damage with Logan, because he starts confusing people after you calm him, or I can kill him with the Venom. Just kind of depends on what dice I roll, but both of those add up to a relatively consistent path to victory. The problem with that is that the Venom strat is very vulnerable to turn order. If I Venom him successfully and he gets a turn before I do, he cures it, so I don't get the calm off. So you can use that to kind of distract him while you kill him with hit point damage, and then calm when he's at low HP, and blah, blah, blah. It's kind of a mess of a fight, frankly, but it's the fastest way to do it is just to sort of throw everything you have at it, rather than trying to set something up. Alright, in Chapter 5, we go to Mortavia, the land in the far north, which is the Land of Thieves, because you have to have a Land of Thieves in a JRPG. Also, we're going to be showing off one more bit of optional voice acting that I haven't shown in a previous run, coming up shortly. It's not quite as funny as some of the other ones like Marcus's at the start of the game, but it's still alright. We'll show it off. Oops. Whoa.
Prince Logan! Praise the Seeker, you found me!
Princess Micah!
You'd be wise to hand over the girl, Sonny.
And you might live a little longer if you just turn around and walk away.
You dare threaten Big Giles, the bandit king of Galan? Make mincemeat of him.
Right, boss.
Back off, Gramps.
Giles, if it isn't my long-lost grandson.
Not by choice, old man.
Still quick with the tongue, eh? Well, I'm still glad to see ya. Come on, let's go over to my joint.
So yes, Giles, of course, is the grandson of the infamous Master Thief, and he tells him he wants him to take over the family business, but if he can pass this test, he'll let him off the hook. Normally we would just give up on this immediately and leave, because it doesn't matter whether you win or lose here. But this is where the other scene is, so let's show it off.
Help me. I am the keeper of this cave. I foolishly tripped one of the cave's traps, which turned my flesh to stone. I can only be freed if somebody offers a prayer to the granite slab, which lies deep within these caverns. Free me, and I will guide you through these tunnels.
Thanks, obviously Sonia's voice actor. So this isn't even really a side quest exactly, because you literally don't get anything for it. It's just this sort of weird red herring event. Whoops. This way.
I'm free! I'm free!
Whoops, what have we done? I don't think you're wrong. Like, everybody except Sonia has kind of their own chapter where they're the star, so Giles is kind of the star of this chapter.
My thanks to you for freeing me. Now I will guide you as I promised.
But to be honest, I'd rather have you find the treasure yourself. Don't look so surprised, boy. I circled ahead of you disguised as a maiden, so I could lead you on a wild goose chase. Instead, I stumbled into one of the traps. It's a good thing I knew about the granite slab.
And it's a good thing I didn't know it was you, because I would have left you here as a showpiece to this cave. Now take a hike, Gramps. I still got a treasure to hunt.
Spoken like a true bandit to be. I'll meet you back home.
Oh, there you go. That's the extra voice acting. Alright, now we go give up on the cave. If you successfully find the treasure, Big Giles says, "Oh, you're obviously such a master thief, you have to take over the family business." So it's sort of a but thou must, and it's obviously quicker to just skip it. That said, we do need the treasure. We have to come back on a second trip and pick it up. We can't keep it on the first trip. Good observation. Next is Galan. Is that right? Check my notes here. Yeah, Galan. Okay. Oh, right. I know where we are in the route. Okay, yeah. I get a bunch of sleep mists here. Alright, so that Sleep Mist is a consumable that casts the Sleep 3 spell in combat. We'll be abusing that for some stuff coming up. Now we're going to do the cave for real. Doing it without it being part of that mission allows you to keep all the stuff you get from it. And we do need several things from it. Oh, whoops. What do I have extra stuff for? Oh, I have extra potions that I didn't get rid of. That's what it is. I have that routed very carefully to have the exact number of spots, but I forgot about the potions. Actually, I might need another spot. Yeah, I do. That's correct. All right. So this silver horn item is a plot thing we'll need in the near future, and we're also going to pick up the gold sword here, which is worthless in combat but sells for a lot of money. Here's another of the obtuse plot triggers. We have to talk to the Prime Minister and this is very important, exit town manually. It is required that you walk out of the town. That took me a while to pin down. If you don't do that, this next event doesn't occur. And this is at a point in the game where you have warp magic and you're using it. You might not even think to do it. All right, next up, we're going to kind of get hooked into the main chapter plot, which is these Doom Specters are looking for an item called a gold card. They're interesting because they're very vulnerable to status, but also they hit really, really hard. So we're trying to land some status spells on them and kill them. He doesn't even have enough, we'll just do it with hit points. You also critical a sleeping enemy, which he woke up too early. This is going poorly. We'll just take the wipe at this point. Why doesn't he have sleep too? I must have overwritten the wrong spell. Yeah, that was a mistake. It's fine. There we go. Freaking A. Alright, now that we've done that, we go up to the tower. It's just called the tower. To find the Prime Minister and his army getting their butts kicked. We'll go save them. Get another one of these fights, which might go a little better. Yeah, there you go. Alright, if you have him asleep, he's 100% to be instant killed with that coma spell. Which is what I was really going for, but it kind of fell apart the first time through. Alright, and he gives us this item called a gold card, which there's some jokes about it being a credit card, for like the rich people are trying to get it. It's not really true. It's actually an artifact that opens up the doors in that tower. We're going to take it to the archaeologist that we haven't actually met yet, and he's going to lead us on an escort mission through the game, or through the tower. Good first floor, no encounters. We're going to probably have to fight 2 fights in the second floor, is typical. These are very dangerous. This is why I got all those sleep mists. We're going to try to sleep stack them, and then kill them with Coma. Because I really can't kill these with HP damage very effectively here. Getting bad rolls. I have to switch to spells just because of... I need to conserve some of these for later. Somewhat iffy first fight. Let's see how this one goes. Fine, good start. Alright, I think we got this. With any luck, that'll be the last fight. Though it's not impossible to see a third one pop up here. Good.
Are you okay, old man? Come on, lay back for a minute while I take care of that thing. All right, big and ugly. Let's see you chew on this. What the?
Nice try, man-child. I just love it when someone falls for that image-casting trick. If you really wish to face me, you'll have to make your way to the top floor of this crystal tower where you'll find the real me. But since the control unit for the tower's elevator is currently in my hands here on the top floor, you won't be able to face me, unless you can fly, of course. Let me put it another way. The situation is hopeless. Now return to the high and mighty minister and tell him I'll be coming after his hide soon.
Can you stand, old fella?
Yes. I don't know if this will help, but I've got a warp quill in my pouch.
Okay, I want to make sure I don't forget my menu here, because this is very important. Now we're going to equip these repel robes that I got in Chapter 3. And we're going to go back and fight Gaius. These repel robes turn this fight from a really nasty RNG fest to an only slightly difficult fight. That's pretty consistent. I can still lose it, but it's not very likely. We have one more Doom Spectre first, and some voice acting.
Prince Logan, I just knew you'd come.
Come on, Princess. Let's get out of here.
But how? The door doesn't open from this side.
Let me have a look at the door. Gracious, there isn't even a card slot on this side.
There's got to be a way out.
Ha! We got you! Knew you be coming! Me very cunning! Master Naja will be proud!
It's really nice if we kill this guy before he does any damage, because... yeah, that can happen. Oh, that worked out. Alright. Because then we don't have to heal. But we didn't get any such luck this time. Hey, it's Marcus again! And some of our other friends from the game. Here to escort the princess back for us while we go take care of the boss. Alright, so let's see the new and improved Gaius fight.
I think we found Gaius, or at least his body. That's strange. He looks like he's in some kind of trance.
Be wary, he might be faking.
Yeah, but if he's not, this is as good a time as any to put an end to his threat.
You should have moved quicker, children. I'm at my most vulnerable when I communicate with Master Naja in this manner. I trust you have the Jewels of Doom in your possession?
What is it with you and your obsession for the jewels?
You mean you don't know? Well, in that case, I'll have to take care of you before you find out.
Alright, so I got this set up. We have Repel on Giles and Logan, so they cannot be attacked by any of these spells. I'm going to deliberately kill off Ethan and Sonia so we get more experience from this fight. I want her to die. There we go. As soon as Logan gets a turn, we should just win. Excellent.
This is not possible! Me, Geist the Magnificent, bested by a handful of humans! The jewels, the doomsday device, total destruction! Master Naja will avenge me!
Now, the real key to that strat is not just winning the fight consistently. It's what we're about to see here, which is look at all this experience that goes on to Logan and Giles, and not the other two. They're not stealing it from us. I didn't need that points. Oh well. It's fine. In particular, Giles is usually a little behind here. We want him to get a ton of levels to get his hit points into shape for comparison, or for the final boss fight. So the point of all that is to basically have that fight substitute for what used to be in the route, which was a grind in the final dungeon. No longer is that there. We're just going to go straight through and not worry about leveling anymore. And so by sort of combining that fight in that way, with guaranteed survival for the two main damage dealers and everyone else dead, I'm able to get a really nice kind of 2-for-1 thing there. I feel like I might have sold something I wasn't supposed to. I have way more money than usual. That looks right, though. Okay, I don't know. Maybe I got some drops I wasn't expecting. I did get a battle axe drop. Is that really worth 100,000? That can't be right. We're in the middle of the longest boat ride in the game. I'm not quite sure why they decided to have a minute-long boat ride segment, but hey, I can enjoy the little, nice little pastoral tune here. Okay, so our goal in this portion of the run is to acquire an item called Sword Blaze, which is the ultimate weapon. It can be used to pierce the hide of the dragon. And we have heard a lead that it's in this mining camp. So there's no combat in this section, we just have to do all of the conversations in the right order, so I just have to kind of hit all my menu spots here. But the short version is there's these two rival toughs that run the camp, and they're having a little dispute, and by resolving it, we can get them to give us access to the area that we need to get into, and then we'll find the hidden lost tome that lets us know where to go. In terms of connections to the later games, no, there's no story links. I mean, the one after this is a direct sequel, And then after that, they're in different timelines and stuff altogether. Alright, so we stumbled upon the plot of one of the guys in the town to bomb his way into the back of the ruins from this other mine. We narked on him, so the other guy is going to catch him and allow us access to the ruins. Alright, we take our lost tome to our archaeologist friend, and he will tell us, oh, you know what that looks like? Are these candle stands that we saw in the town. So we go ask about the candle stands, we get permission from the other head honcho, and we take our swords. One last bit of bookkeeping before we hit the final dungeon. We have to go back to our dragon tamer guy, and he gives us a flute that calls the dragon. That's our airship, basically, which we need to get into the final dungeon. And then we're off. Just double check my inventory, marathon, and all that. Looks good. Alright, so this final dungeon is fairly long. It's not like crazy long, but it's about 8 or 9 minutes of walking. And we really don't want any encounters in here. Per my other remarks on the Gaius fight, I'm leveled as much as I need to be right now. So we really don't need to take any fights. If I have to because of bad monster positioning, it's not really a huge problem. At least in some areas. There are some unwinnable fights in here for me. But we'll deal with that. So, like, we'll take this fight. It's faster to take it than to bait him all the way through that chamber. We did get a level, actually. Interesting. Okay. Really, I would want it on Giles, not on Logan. Dude, why did you turn? That was very rude. Alright, there's the first segment down. This next one, Beast Maze, is probably the scariest. Because it has the narrowest hallways, and there is one encounter group of the 3 that populate this area that I cannot kill. There's an enemy called Rag Corpse. They're these kind of ghost things, and they can only be damaged with spells, so here's one of them. So we have to get into these sort of passable hallways and just get around them. Like, I gotta wait for him to come out. And there's a little danger that if I got fully pinned by an encounter that we wouldn't be able to get past it. I have some ways to deal with that, but our best bet is just to not let that happen. I think I'll just fight this. I'm going to have to run twice to get away from him, given the positioning. And I could use a level on Giles. This is a little awkward. I hope that's... Yeah, okay, so this is iffy. We have to wait and kind of get around these guys. Like so. There you go. I have a lot of confidence in my movement to be able to deal with that. That was a little dangerous. I don't know if I can get around the left one without killing this one, so we're going to do it. Yeah, that's fine. Good. Alright, that's Beast Maze. Now we have Labyrinth, which has a lot of the same issues. There are unwinnable encounters in here, so any of the Grim Reaper enemies I have no way to kill. It's a little more open, and not being torched and all that, I think it's easier to get around in, so I'm not as worried about this zone. There are still places I could get pinned if I'm not careful, so we have to be on point with movement still. Okay, sounds good, we'll do that. Oops. I thought that was right, not left. And then one last area where we could get an enemy. Oh, we did. Okay, be careful here. Alright, this is now the final zone of the game. And it has more straightforward movement because it's nice and open. We're coming up on the final boss, who is a dragon. We do get to slay a dragon. An adult dragon, mind you. And it's a pretty consistent fight, but if he decides to get really angry with me, I can lose it. So we'll see how it treats me. Dude, these guys are just doing everything wrong. Alright, here we go. Just about there. There is a voice cutscene before it. Oh yeah, that's right. Let's just do this. She's a little low on MP, but it'll have to do.
At last we meet. I never dreamed I would see the day when I'd be confronted by humans. Know you that I be as old as time itself? That you're not the first civilization to be crushed by my hands? I thought not. It was an error on my part not to have totally annihilated mankind when I had the chance. I shall not make the same mistake again. Once I eliminate you and obtain the Jewels of Doom, civilization as you know it will no longer exist.
beast. But why destroy us?
Because you are what you are.
And what do you mean by that?
It's best that you do not know. That way, you'll rest easier in your graves.
So to answer the question, the jewels we've been carting around the whole game are the Doomsday device. We just decided to bring them to Nausea for some reason. Oh, that was really rude. I almost had him. He's got one extra turn there. Bad turn order a couple times in a row. Wow. Go for 2 leeches this time. That's why you want to calm him. Okay, this should be a much better setup. I think we win this one. There we go. Time.
Mankind has always been the poison. For it is man that destroys nature as he multiplies in number. I, on the other hand, am the antidote. It was nature that created me to maintain her delicate balance. When I first brought civilization to its knees, I felt an overwhelming sorrow for what I'd done. In my anguish, I cast the jewels of doom to the far corners of Isanasa, so that I would never repeat the deed again. But when I saw mankind once again becoming a threat to nature, I decided it was time to put an end to everything once and for all. However, it would seem that a power much greater than mine has decided that mankind must live. I can only bow to that decision.
What's eating you, Your Highness?
Did we really do the right thing? I can't shake the feeling that nausea was nature's last defense against man. By defeating nausea, we may have sealed the fate of nature.
Ah, but you mustn't forget that Naja yielded to what he claimed was a higher decision. If that is the case, then I think it is safe to assume that the powers that be have left it in our hands to maintain nature's balance.
Maybe this time, nature used Naja to warn us.
Yeah, now all we gotta do is live and let live.
I hate to admit it, but I think our streetwise friend has singled out an ideal solution.
I had to do that.
Let live. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Hey, you're making me blush.
Thanks everyone for the GGs. The funny thing about that Naja fight is I wasn't lying. That usually is the easiest fight in the game. He just decided to be really rude. Well, I guess we're going to let the credits play out in full. That's all the voice acting part of the ending, but we do get to see the walk of shame, shall we, of the voice acting credits in a bit here. I guess I missed something. I'll have to check the VOD later. Chat seems to be reacting to something Stolt did. Oh, Mike, I rerouted this game pretty aggressively, in addition to switching over to an SSDS3, and it's a lot more consistent in addition to being faster. This wasn't even a particularly good run. I had like a couple of really awful segments, but it still was a good show, I think. It's actually a lot of people for a translation credit for a game this early. I don't know if it's quite 10 minutes. It is a lot. But the first run I did was about 13 minutes faster than my PB, but I attribute about 7 or 8 of that to the route. So I don't know if it's a huge amount. Is it really that much? I haven't been very scientific about doing runs on my old CD hardware to compare with my route changes. I should do that at some point just to check. Yeah. Well, I will say, I do notice it's saving a lot of time loading the voice tracks in this one. But I also, when I used to do attempts, ran it on PSG Music for speedruns, so it wouldn't load the music tracks every time it was going in and out of that. So it was really just the voice stuff, which there's a good chunk of, but it's not, like, enormous. And it's not every line, it's a long track, but... Well, alright, that's the whole game. It's just going to be a silent screen, so Stolt, you can cut away whenever you feel the need. Thanks for watching, everybody. This was fun.